What was your favourite assassin robe? Was it Ezio's? Was it Arno's? Or was it even, Cassandra's? Today we will be ranking every one of the protagonist assassin robes from Altair to Basim. Before we start, there are a few factors to take into account when ranking each robe. Firstly, practicality. How does the outfit aid the assassin in completing their tasks in the cleanest and most reliant way? Secondly, we have aesthetics. Is the assassin robe appealing to the player's eye, and how iconic is it? And it's also important to take into account how the robes reflects the setting of the world they reside in. This also leads into how conspicuous the outfit is. We will be ranking each mainline Gain assassin robes: Altair, Ezio, Connor, Edward, Arno, Evie, Jacob, Bayek, Cassandra, Eivor, and Basim. I will be leaving out Alexios as he is canonically Demos and not the main character. Characters from games such as Liberation and the Chronicles collection will not be included as they are not mainline entries in the series, as well as leaving out Shay because he is a Templar rather than an assassin. This is my personal opinion and take on the assassin robes. If you disagree, that's completely fine. Everyone has their own unique opinion at the end of the day, and it's nigh impossible for everyone to unanimously agree on one idea, let alone 11 of them. Feel free to comment your own ranking of the robes in the comments. I would love to see them. And I mean that, I do. Number 11, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Cassandra. At number 11, we have Cassandra. She's bottom of the list because if it wasn't obvious enough, she doesn't wear assassin robes. Her armor really goes against everything an assassin stands for, hide in plain sight being the most egregious. Of course, you might comment saying, well, she isn't an assassin. You're right, but she is the main protagonist of an Assassin's Creed game, so I feel it fair to judge her outfit accordingly. Number 10, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Eivor. Eivor stands at number 10 for the exact reasons I stated for number 11. The armor represents glory, wealth, and pride for all to see, again contradicting the creed. Number 9, Assassin's Creed Unity, Arno. A very fitting style for the era of Paris the game takes place in. A thick blue trench coat adorned by a buttoned leather vest along with a red scarf. This is a hardy outfit made to keep you light on your feet, unencumbered by weight, while still allowing for protection due to the thickness of the leather, which of course were very important requirements in the midst of a bloody revolution. Visually, these robes are too unique and lavish for me to imagine Arno not having a problem walking through the streets of a city whose people have incited a revolution based on their resentment towards the rich. The robes come with room for enhancement if needed, which is paramount for an assassin's tools. Overall, very practical yet fairly conspicuous. Number 8, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Edward. Edward was a pirate, and a proud one at that, taking a fallen assassin's robes not because of what they symbolise but more of how they would look on Edward, making him a more effective and feared pirate. Modified to house armour reinforcements as well as ample room to showcase weapons, these robes were a true representation of the wearer. Any fool could spot a pirate a mile away based on their aesthetics, and these robes were no different. Number 7, Assassin's Creed Origins, Bayek. Now, the only reason these robes are not higher on the ranking isn't due to the iconic look, but because of how obvious they are as to Bayek's political stature. He is a Medjay, and his robes present that proudly, even if they are war-torn. Aside from that, Bayek's robes would be perfect in Egyptian heat, covering enough to keep you protected in the most vital areas while exposing enough to keep you at a steady temperature. They fit perfectly for their setting, but in my opinion stick out like a sore thumb to all the wrong people. Number 6, Assassin's Creed 3, Connor. Connor's robes are the culmination of the war between factions and the war within himself. He fights for an ideology fueled by his desire for revenge. This is contrasted beautifully by the contrasting colours of off-white, blue and dark brown, opposing colours at odds with one another. A great metaphor for the story you experience. With dark blue being a clear indication of Connor's alignment, these assassin robes would be a sign of peace in some areas and a provocative statement in many others. Number 5, Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood, Ezio. I place both AC2 and Brotherhood's robes as 1 on the ranking because I feel, although not identical, both are similar and have the same effect on the world around them and what they mean. The Italian Renaissance was a time of luxury, decadence, one identity full of unique charm. Ezio's robes clearly reflect this. On one hand, these robes fit almost perfectly with the setting, while on the other hand, as Ezio becomes more and more famous for his exploits, his robes also become famous, legendary even. And that's what these robes are, legendary. The only reason they aren't number 1 on this list is because of how conspicuous they quickly become to Ezio's enemies. Number 4, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Jacob and Evie. The Fry twins are placed equally on this ranking because of how they both have the same effects as one another. Leather jackets with traditional Victorian era clothing. A perfect mix between working in upper class fashion, the twins were able to fit into any crowd in London with the reassurance that they would remain anonymous. Along with Jacob's incorporation of a top hat when not infiltrating, he fit right into the crowd. The twins' robes were made for ease of access to multiple assassin tools while keeping them hidden. Number 3. Assassin's Creed Mirage, Basim. Basim is a street thief, a man of little honour. After becoming an assassin, he gains new insight into the world along with why honour is so important. Basim's robes reflect that of his prior upbringing with his new dedication to the creed. A hood adorned with a cowl to protect the wearer from the elements as well as catering to the local style of Baghdad. One could easily mistake whoever wore these robes as a trader from the Silk Road or even a student at the House of Wisdom. Inconspicuous and perfect in many scenarios. Number 2. Assassin's Creed Altair. Pure white with hints of red reinforced by leather and subtle metal plating. The iconic look that started it all. The thing I love most about Altair's robes is that they start as a complete contrast to Altair as a character. He is an egotistical young man filled with arrogance. There's likely even a little resentment for his uniform. Altair tries to stand out in a sea of assassins wearing identical robes. But over time, as he develops and evolves as a character, they become a symbol of Altair's devotion to the creed and everything it stands for. These robes are deliberately made to confuse the wearer with that of monks and pilgrims, which were in prevalence during the Crusades. Number 1, yes mate, Assassin's Creed Revelations, Ezio. A much more humble look than the robes of his youth. Ezio knew that in order to exact his mission over 1,000 miles from his home, he needed to look the part of a Middle Eastern traveller in order to keep a low profile from the enemies ruling over these new lands and seeking the very same treasure he sought. Lightweight and durable, these grey robes were perfect for long-term travel full of potential and later inevitable conflict. The dark, bleak and withered look to these robes reflect an older, more seasoned assassin, nearing the bittersweet end of an almost 30-year struggle. Ezio knew that this story, this fight, was never about him, which I think is accurately shown in his outfit being fairly uninspiring compared to the clothing seen in many of the characters he meets during his journey. Well, there you have it, the Exiles ranking of every Assassin's Creed robe in the mainline series. As I said at the beginning of this video, if you don't agree, that's completely fine. I want to know what you guys have to say and your ranking in the comments anyway, as well as why you think that. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let's get a discussion going. Some of the titles on this ranking was a toss-up for me. I thought maybe Altair should be number 1, but then the meaning and story with Ezio's Revelations robes, I was like, I just don't know how I can put that not at number 1. So there's a few things where there is room for maybe leeway with one going above the other and one going below the other. But at the end of the day, I thought about this a lot and this is the ranking I chose. If you did enjoy this video and you want to see more just like this, then press the subscribe button to stay in the loop with everything Assassin's Creed and most recently with the new title coming out soon, Assassin's Creed Mirage. May the Father of Understanding guide us. Press the like button if you did enjoy this. I love you guys. I will see you soon. Goodbye.